There's not even an H or an R in her name. I'm not sure why it's Charday. Oh, welcome back, everybody, to BRP TV and the 5th race of the Southern Tier Elite Series here live this season. Race 5 is the mid-season championship. We are at the virtual Knoxville Raceway, and it's also on top of being the halfway point of the season. It is the costume party. It is throwback night here, and we are live on YouTube to bring you a 75-lap feature to cap off the first half of this season in these fun, new sported colors. I'm Joe Donahue. Alongside me, as always, is Jonathan Howe. And Jonathan, we come into this race with a nice battle in the championship, but we've also got the excitement of these new threads, these new colors on some of these cars that we get to look through. It's kind of like a nice little refresh in the middle of the season here.
Yeah, you know what? It's a great way for these drivers to pay tribute to some history, whether it be actual racing history from their local scenes, or maybe it's family history, as we'll see throughout the evening. And more than a few drivers going with schemes that were either maybe their dads or maybe somebody else in their family who ran maybe a family car that was owned as well. It's just a great night to pay tribute to some awesome legacies. And one that we're watching right away, Jeff Sharp. He's always running this throwback scheme.
Yeah, so Jeff Sharp running a Ty Scott car that we always see him in, but it is on theme, so we will show it off here, but we've got plenty of others in the field to show off, and I will jump over and see if we can find Mr. Cody Higbee as well as another driver in this race in throwback schemes. Like Jonathan said, a lot of the people in this race tonight that are running these throwbacks are doing it in honor of a family member, and Cody Higbee is running his dad's car from 2002 in that form as well.
Yeah, that's a beautiful looking ride. I like that. It's sharp. Kind of feels like, almost feels like it should be like a Blaney car. Reminds me of like a Blaney sprint car.
Yeah, I dig that. I get you there. Yeah. We can keep looking through here as we've got about 4.5 minutes-ish of practice left before we jump into the 3-minute qualifying session. 2 laps apiece for the drivers to set the heat race lineups. 23 drivers are in the session right now. So in that case, we wouldn't be sending anybody home. But nonetheless, we'll keep looking through the field, and it's like inevitable, Jonathan, that we have some sort of car running this Plazic throwback, and tonight it's Chad Lackey.
That is a beautiful tribute to Canada Joe, a car and a driver that I'm very familiar with in my part of the world, and a very, very important representative of all things Southern Ontario and Canadian motorsport as well, and love seeing that Plazic car out there.
And that's Chad Lackey tonight. Right in front of him in line, as well as Cody Higbee, is Matt Schultz. We're used to seeing him in the Reese's number 24. Tonight, the Liberty Rock Crushing number 24 car is him in the form of, I wrote it down somewhere, of his, I actually don't know, maybe Jonathan, you know, if Chris Schultz is related to Matt Schultz, but this car is an icon of the Orange County Fair Speedway scene from what I've heard, a late 90s regular of that show.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the actual connection is on the Schultzes there, but I mean, that is a great looking car. It's so unique too. I know they say green's bad luck on a race car, but I like having a little bit of green on a car if you can.
Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe if you add a little bit of the purple on there, it helps it a little bit as well. Speaking of purple, Gary Edwards III, he's running his father's car from 2003. He will be in the number 21 tonight as usual, but we're used to seeing him with green on his car, and he has traded it in for purple tonight. We'll keep looking through some of these, Jonathan, as I think, Anthony Roselli's in some special colors tonight as well.
Yeah, Anthony Roselli, another one. This is a bit of a family effort. Obviously, we're going to have something like that. This is the 2003 Makatech family car. It's a beautiful looking ride, I got to say. The 7 really jumps out on the side. I like the chrome numbers. The blue they use is really nice. It's a great looking ride for Anthony tonight.
And his brother Dominic is also in basically the same livery. So the 2 cars that the Roselli family ran back in the day at Makatech were the father of these 2, which is what Dominic is running, and then the number 7 car. So I don't know if they did that on purpose, but conveniently, back in 2003, the Roselli family had a 7 car and an 80 car. So Carl Pittenger was driving the 7. That will be Anthony Roselli tonight. And then running his father's car will be Dominic in this one. So you'll see the twins out on track. Maybe not twins in real life, but the twin cars hopefully trying to stay out of trouble tonight.
Yeah, always a great job for us if we have to deal with twin paint schemes, but
Yep,
I'm
absolutely.
sure we'll only mix them up maybe once or twice.
Hopefully not too many times. We can keep looking here. About a minute and a half left to keep looking through. We've got Hunter Lapp running his father's car, so that is Nicky Lapp. That is a number 60 tribute car to what he ran in Syracuse in the 358s back in 1992. He's just rear-ended the backside of the car scored as the 55 car. That is, I have to double check. I think that is Richard Ritchie. So let me move the camera so we can see it again. Richard Ritchie usually you see him as the 406 on race track. He is going to be driving his father's car that was run in 1996 at Lebanon Valley Speedway. And as the session's coming to a close, we'll see if we can get a quick view of Kenny Coe's car, Jonathan.
Yeah, Kenny Coe's ride, a bit of a switch up here. Typically see him in the 22. Running the 714 tonight. That's a Gordy Button tribute, and just one of those classic-looking race cars. It just looks like a proper race car, you know.
I agree with that, and it looks like a proper modified too. Like that's when I think of a modified livery, I'm looking at something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will keep checking through these special costumes tonight as we go, but practice just ended. Kenny Coe, the guy we're looking at, was the fastest. Dominic Roselli second, Chad Lackey third. That is going to end off the practice session, and we will then move into 2 laps apiece for qualifying here to set the heat race starting lineups. So iRacing will jump over as the clock ticks to 0. We get a quick shot of Main Street, Knoxville, Iowa. The virtual Knoxville Raceway is where we are tonight, and into qualifying. Jonathan, anybody we should try to shout out or catch to see as like a heavy hitter, dominant driver, somebody you want to see qualifying here, or see what they can do?
You know, I'm very interested to see what Chad Lackey's going to bring to the table. I mean, obviously he's running that paint scheme that's pretty near and dear to my heart, but he was also pretty close to the top of the speed charts. I feel like maybe this could be a special one for Lackey. Obviously, you're going to have your heavy hitters. Anthony Roselli, Gary Edwards, they're going to be up there. What does Dean Reynolds do? He's sitting there third in points right now, before the drop, of course, coming into tonight. Feel like if he could have himself another really, really solid night, that'll go a long way to keeping Dean not only in the championship fight, but maybe making him just a full-on contender to go up against the likes of Higbee and Henschel and Dominic Roselli and some of the drivers that he's ahead of right now in points.
Yep, so I definitely agree with you on Dean Reynolds, and this kind of racetrack does suit him. You'll see Dean running almost kind of the same car he's been running this year, but it is a throwback. So Dean always runs a special tribute with the car number 79 to Roger Horvath, and this is a 1991 Roger Horvath spec livery. So this car is a throwback to early 90s of a driver who Dean always does give some representation to with these races. Dean's laps they're pretty middle of the pack right there, to be completely honest, and he's going to be 14th. Gary Edwards III sits atop the leaderboard. This is going to be the first time, as he is not on the track anymore, this is going to be the first time that Isaac Salas is here, but isn't the fastest qualifier. And look at that, we've got Matthew Schultz jumping up to the top of the board.
That was a surprise.
Yep, we're trying to get him on screen here, but I don't think he's out on the racetrack. Anthony Vitale is, though. Nope, they all aren't. Qualifying gets cut short since everybody qualified. Yep, everybody took their time, so Matt Schultz will be the fastest, and therefore the pole sitter, as we can bring up the starting grid for the first heat race of the night, Jonathan.
Yeah, there it is. Matthew Schultz going to lead him to green in this one. Kenny Coe with a great effort there tonight. He will start from the outside of row number 1. Anthony Roselli in this one, too. And Dylan Smith will start 4th. This is a pretty stacked heat, especially up front. Jesse Hedges will start 5th. Anthony Vitale will start 6th. Jeff Sharp, we have seen Jeff be pretty good at racing his way up through the field in the heats and making some noise come feature time. He's going to have to do it again starting 7th. And shotgun on the field, Jake Henry going to round out your 8 cars in heat number 1.
So those are the 8. We can spotlight Anthony Vitale. Usually we see him as the 1X. Tonight we will see him driving a number 14 car. This is a Jeff Halsapple 2015 throwback for Anthony Vitale, who will roll from 6th on the grid. He's on the outside of Jesse Hedges, not in costume for tonight. But, yeah, I will go back to what you said there, Jonathan, as they will get the one to go at the stripe to start the first heat race off of the night. You're talking about guys who are very strong. Like Matthew Schultz has really shown some stuff this year. We know Kenny Coe's good. Anthony Roselli is the points leader. That doesn't just happen by accident. Dylan Smith, very strong as well, although I'm tempted to say he's almost had a little bit of a lull getting things going this year, but still definitely not somebody to count out.
No, Dylan Smith has definitely not had the year that he's wanted. He hasn't had the season that he's wanted to start with, but there's no better place to turn things around than at Knoxville. And why not tonight? Why not start somewhere? You got to start towards the front of the field, and that's why this heat session is going to be so important. Plus, you're going to pick up some extra points, too, if you're going to finish towards the front of the field in this heat race.
That is right. So those extra bonus points are on the table to finish inside the top 5. 3 points to the winner, 2 to second, and then third through fifth all get 1. Green flag comes out. Dylan Smith's going to have to see if he can try to find a way to capitalize on that. Meantime, up at the front, Kenny Coe side by side with Matthew Schultz. Down the back straightaway, Schultz is going to dive really low. He actually gets up on the berm a little bit, gets the car out of whack. Kenny Coe will come back to the line and lead the first lap of racing tonight.
Coe leads. Now here comes Roselli with a move to the inside. That berm is going to be tricky. It can jump out and bite you. And if you're on the outside of a driver who gets bitten by that, it can really ruin your night as well, too. So we'll keep an eye on who's having trouble running the berm, who's able to run that inside line as tight as possible without getting their car upset. Right now, really liking what I'm seeing from Anthony Roselli. He's on hot pursuit trying to track down Kenny Coe for this lead.
Yeah, but it looks like right now the track's so young, we're going to get a wide angle here and see just that there's not a ton of space to work with down there. It's almost like you need something like what Matthew Schultz did, where he kind of got into too deep or he's running a little bit too high to have an opportunity, because you can see it in the racetrack how young it is and how much grip is down there. We're not really going to see much movement unless you see something like what Kenny Coe just did, where he got that inside tire up on the berm and it pushed him out a little bit.
Yeah, this is all going to be about mistakes, especially early in the night. Don't make a mistake. Don't beat yourself, and you can keep your car up front and out in control of this race like Kenny Coe is doing. Again, got a little sideways, and now you see Anthony Roselli get a little aggressive trying to keep pace with Coe, and that's going to back him up, and now Schultz is going to be able to challenge once again for second.
So Schultz back into the picture for second place right here. There is a point difference between second and third that Matthew Schultz might be trying to take away from your championship leader as they come back into 3 and 4 again onto the front stretch. 2 laps to go for Kenny Coe up front in yellow tonight. We're not used to seeing him in yellow, but he is leading. Anthony Roselli, Matthew Schultz, and then Jesse Hedges and Dylan Smith fighting it out for 4th place here behind them.
And Kenny Coe's had some strong runs. Remember, he's already picked up a heat win on the season earlier this year and just hasn't quite been able to put it all together come feature time. I think his best finish so far this season has been a 6th place. That's not indicative of the kind of driver that Kenny Coe is, and I feel like if he can start up front tonight, he obviously has a feel for this place already, and he looks pretty comfortable as he is going to see the checkered flag and wrap up this one. Kenny Coe wins it ahead of Anthony Roselli, Matt Schultz as well right there. That's the stuff I wanted to see from Kenny Coe.
Kenny Coe, your Hig Fab Chassis Heat Race #1 winner tonight. Everybody kind of giving him a little bit of a, hey, good job, man, bump out there as they slow down and finish off the first heat race of the night. Heat race #2 going to come at you with 8 more drivers and 8 more laps. Starting from the front row, going to be driving car number 21, running a tribute to his dad is Gary Edwards. We've got Cole Henschel to his outside. Cole Henschel going to be running a tribute tonight to one of his dad's first modifieds as well, so he will be scored as the 3, but you will see him in a silver #4 tonight. Brendan Finley, the 007 scored on the board. It is the J7 on track. He will run from 3rd place on the inside of Dominic Roselli in his dad's tribute throwback as well. Dominic going to be looking to go towards the front here. Richard Ritchie III, driving the Lebanon Valley Speedway car from 1996. He will roll from 5th, and to his outside, also running a tribute. It's going to be the 2015 Super Dirt Week car from Syracuse is Austin Smith. You've got Bud Molyneux in the 883 on the outside of the final row on the grid, and then running shotgun on the field in the white number 71 we're used to seeing, Edward Owens, and he will go from back there. Everybody will qualify into the main event tonight, as we did not have enough starters to have to kick people out of the consolation race, but we should still see the qualification of that to set the starting grid for the 75 laps. Nonetheless, there's actually contact going on back here. Jonathan, it looks like Richard Ritchie ran into Austin Smith a little bit as they tried to warm up the tires coming through turn 2 there.
Yeah, maybe just lost it a little bit there. That was a strange little incident beforehand, but I don't think either driver picked up too much damage. We'll see if that affects them once they get going green here. But, yeah, you don't see that all that often.
It's not super common, and some trouble still with Richard Ritchie's number 55 car. I wonder what that's about, as they were about to get it underway, and then they do this time, and the green flag is out. Gary Edwards will lead us in. Cole Henschel in that 4 car on his outside, and then you've got the J7 of Brendan Finley on the inside there as well. Tight little battle between the top 4 as they come into turn number 3.
Good battle amongst the front. Oh, there goes the 55 tonight. That is Ritchie around. So maybe more damage on that car than I initially thought after they made contact, because it's definitely being a little bit evil on him.
He's going to have to muster that one back up. At least he'll have the consolation to see if he can get some positions back on the starting grid. But you've got a battle on screen right now for third place. Brendan Finley and Dominic Roselli. They come back out onto the front straightaway. D-Rose on the tail right here. Looks like Henschel's got a little bit of a gap that Finley bit into, but he maybe bit off more than he could chew there, or he loses the run down the straightaway. Meanwhile, up front, Gary Edwards III, no contention at the moment for first place.
Yeah, Edwards has this one figured out right now. He is clicking off some great laps. And again, this is another driver who's made a lot of ground up in heat races. Got 3 heat wins on the season and another third place finish in a heat race. It just goes so far into, getting those extra points that can separate you. Like, look at the top of the standings. He's only 7 back of Anthony Roselli, but then he's clear of Dean Reynolds by 7 points that way. So, not having those heat racing bonus points can really, really make a difference when it comes to your position in the standings. And again, just being up towards the front of the field, Joe, just goes such a long way in this series, especially with how short some of our races have been.
Yeah, and especially when you're fighting like you are in a heat race. I mean, it's a short race, and it's a small payout of points, but points always matter, and those are the kind of points that make the difference in a championship. Gary Edwards III, so far this season, has done a really good job of capitalizing on the bonus points available in heat races. He's got 3 heat race wins to his name this season so far. That might go to 4 for 5 tonight, as he will see the 1 to go presented by Precision Engine Service, and he really doesn't have much contention behind as long as he doesn't make any sort of mistake.
No, he's got it dialed in. He's really smooth. I like the line that he's running. Enter low, let the car wash up through the middle of the racetrack there. Keep yourself away from that berm. Don't upset the race car. Get it rotated. Get the power back down. I think this line is going to be the successful line that we see throughout the night. But we'll see how this track ages, as there it is. The checkered flag goes to Gary Edwards III. Cole Henschel will round out the podium. We'll finish second. Brendan Finley rounds out your podium and that J7 ride. Good stuff, once again, from Edwards, and some good points for some other drivers who needed it.
Yeah, Cole Henschel put up some good numbers. Dominic Roselli at least did get a bonus point for 4th place there, but we'll have to wait and see what comes of this group. This is almost like the anomaly group, and I just say that because this one's got a lot of the heavy hitters that we haven't seen in years past, like the new guys to BRP TV's function, and the starting grid comes up on your screen, and we start up at the top with Chad Lackey driving the car, scored as the 66th. That's the Canadian number 1 on the side tonight. Hunter Lapp to his outside, running a tribute to his dad, so cars 60 will be going from 2nd place. 3rd place on the grid, Isaac Salas missed last week. The week before he was victorious, and he will be to the inside of the Cody Higbee-driven number 97. He's running a red and white throwback. We're used to seeing him in blue this season. Dean Reynolds will go from 5th place on the grid in car number 79, the Roger Horvath tribute. And then to his outside is going to be car number 57, which is a Tommy Corellis throwback. That is Brian Lawson. Then running from 7th in the starting grid of 7 is Mikey Horton, and he is driving car number 12, which tonight is a tribute to his own slingshot that he ran growing up back a couple years ago. So he is running a throwback, but it is a throwback to his own car. And then we can also jump over here to check the 57. You can see Brian Lawson there going through turns 1 and 2. That is his tribute machine to Tommy Corellis. So down
Ready to roll here. I think this is going to be one of those heats. You talked about some of the contenders in it that aren't regulars to us. This is going to be a moment for Lackey, Salas, everyone else to really, really say that, hey, you got to be I need to be the driver of Focus the most.
Yes, and you got an opportunity to do it because this is a great group of drivers, but it doesn't have your main competitors of the Rosellis and Gary Edwards. It does have Cody Higbee and Dean Reynolds, but they start from the 3rd row as the green flag comes out, and Chad Lackey will get the lead. We are underway into 3. Isaac Salas and Hunter Lapp with a little battle into turns 3 and 4, but up front, it is Chad Lackey getting the first lap lead.
Joe, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the outside. You can see Lapp is pretty committed to it, as is Higbee. They're still up there. They're still making things work, and they're really getting some great drives off the corners, using that high side, keeping the momentum wound up in that big block, and I feel as though this could be the start of what's going to be a really racy racetrack.
Yeah, this is a momentum-based racetrack. I'm glad you mentioned the word momentum there because it's flat. So you've got to do the best you can to kind of keep the car wound up through the corners, but that does mean, for now, it's maybe not as much, but once the track ages a little bit more, the momentum and the control you have, and then working with whatever state the track's in, what part of the track is fast, that is all the different variables that you're going to have to control if you want to be up at the top at the end of 75 laps tonight. So, yeah, right now, I think that's a really good thing to mention. And while we may not be seeing it to its full effect just yet, because we still do have a lot of life down in the dirt of this racetrack right now, that is absolutely the name of Knoxville Raceway for big block modifieds.
Right now, Isaac Salas is clear of Lapp. That battle was kind of jamming up the rest of the field and really allowed Lackey to get away. So Lackey's in firm control of this one. Salas, though, back there riding in second, has finally gotten around Lapp clear. So let's see what he can do in terms of establishing his line, his ideal place to run around Knoxville, and can he eat into that lead that Lackey has? I think it's just over a second right now. We'll see if maybe Salas can click off some lap time. And again, that could be another thing to watch later in the night is, do drivers have the ability to go out and run down a leader? Picked up about a 1/10 of a second, just under a 1/10 of a second that last time by.
Yep, so he is gaining slightly as we'll go on board with Isaac Salas as the 1 to go, presented by Precision Engine Service, comes out on the track. Isaac Salas going up to the high side of the racetrack, and you can see that you're just going to have to settle for second place for how much time is in between himself and the car scored as the 66. So the 60, right in front of him as well. But there's goes to the checkered flag, and Chad Lackey is going to get the victory for the 3rd heat race of the night, presented by Hig Fab Chassis. Isaac Salas, we just ride on board with him across the line, and he will get 2nd. So that's the end of the heat race action. And like we said, Jonathan, that consolation race to set the starting grid will come next. We've only got 8 drivers on the grid to hit it because we brought in 15 from the heat races, 5 each of 3, and the 8 are here on the screen, and we will have 10 laps to decide it.
Dylan Smith going to lead him to green. Again, not the season that Dylan Smith is wanting to have. He is, getting to be a bit of a victim of where he falls in the heats. Austin Smith will start to his outside in the 14 ride. Brian Lawson will start 3rd. Jeff Sharp 4th. Edward Owens is going to bring up the 5th position. Mikey Horton will start 6th. Jake Henry 7th. And Richard Ritchie, who we saw have some problems in his heat, will start shotgun on the field and try to move up a little bit further up the standings for the actual start of our feature event.
So that will be the name of the game for this one, as everybody will get into the main event. So the name of the game is try to get as far up to the front as you can. But you've got the brothers at the front, Chris and Austin Smith, so you're going to have to watch out for those two. While we have a brief moment here as they roll off and they will get the warm-up laps in, we'll take a quick second to make a shout-out to our sponsors and partners of the broadcast and the series tonight. Cacti Fabrication presenting the Cacti Cup to the winner of this championship at the end of 10 races. BRP TV, that's us, your go-to for all live coverage of the Southern Tier Elite Series. HigFab Chassis, modified chassis gurus in upstate New York. Precision Engine Service, specializing in providing high-quality rebuilt engines and engine components. Savage House Performance and Savage House Racing, embodying the working man spirit as a kind of rough and tough man's man team for iRacing action. Vertex Graphics, presenting sponsor of multiple drivers in this field. It's on the side of a couple of the cars, at least that you'd see normally when they're not in their costumes. Murder Graphics, custom graphics for all your racing-related needs. MDR Designs for all your branding needs with over 10 years of experience in branding and design for businesses. The Ink Vine Company, if you're looking to grow your business with a custom website or capture a local audience, they're the go-to. Creative Turnings, based out of Connecticut for wood and acrylic household items. 47 Technology with the hookup for 3D printed gifts, ornaments, trophies, and more. And the Southern Ontario Dirt Show, keeping you in tune with Southern Ontario's racing scene. All a part of the show, all a part of what puts on BRP TV and the Southern Tier Elite Series as we get going on the consolation race to set the features field.
Austin Smith with the early jump to the lead past Dylan Smith. Number 3 wide already. Roll, Richie climbed that inner banking there, and it got awfully close at the back of the field. That could have been a 3 or 4 car incident. But everybody, oh no, now
Lord.
we've got a bigger incident.
Oh, that's Edward Owens.
That's Vitality and Owens, right?
Yep. Edward Owens goes around pretty heavily there, and that is a tough break for him. Brian Lawson, something must have happened off Lawson at the start there that he went backwards, but that is a tough break for him. And then Jake Henry, I think, got a little piece of that as well. And that is not the way to get things rolling when you've got a 75-lap race coming up next.
No, not what you want to have happen, but it's definitely kind of spaced out this field, Joe, and made things a little bit, probably everybody's a little bit more tense, I would say, about getting through this one cleanly, although we do see some racing action for the top spot as Dylan Smith going to try to work past Austin Smith. That 15 car down low, can't quite make the clear up, still hanging on the outside is Austin Smith. Now Dylan Smith will clear back to the lead where he started this one.
Almost just barely, and yeah, you said it, it spaced the field out. Jonathan, you were correct that it spaced the back half of the field out a little bit. You've still got this really good battle between the brothers, and you've got 3rd and 4th place, Mikey Horton and Jeff Sharp racing down the backstretch as well. They are really close to each other. And it's getting a little bit more settled out here as we come to halfway through this consolation. Dylan Smith takes over the lead from his brother. Mikey Horton looking to make a pass on the 14S as they continue to trek forward. You got Jake Henry, Brian Lawson, Richard Ritchie, Edward Owens all back. They're all sort of running their own shows back there in the second half of the field.
Yeah, looking to see what Brian Lawson can do. Again, he's kind of had a pretty consistent under-the-radar season. Not necessarily making a ton of noise, but Brian Lawson is sitting 16th in points before the drop. He wants to move up forward, and he honestly really could. There's a lot of runway in front of him for him to maybe have a good night and catch some drivers in front of him. It all starts again with where you end up starting these features. We've seen it so important to be at the front of the field when it comes time to it. And, of course, big thing that I feel like we talk about it, but maybe we almost don't talk about it enough, is that invert. Right? It's not just if you win and finish at the top of your heat, you're going to start at the front of this field. It all comes down to what that random draw invert is going to be each week. That's
right. So usually there's a trend to it where they will invert the top 6 cars for the starting grid of the feature if it's a 40-lap race. And if it's a 50-lap race, they invert the top 8. Tonight is 75. I would assume, as we get the 1 to go presented by Precision Engine Service, I would assume we're going to do an 8-car invert for the starting grid. We'll have to just wait and see to confirm after the warm-up session that comes next. But the final lap's already been started. Dylan Smith, with not really much contention from Mikey Horton behind him, will come through turn 4 and see the checkered flag first. He will win the consolation tonight over Mikey Horton, Austin Smith, Jeff Sharp, and Jake Henry should be the one to finish off the top 5 for this.
Smooth stuff there from Dylan Smith. Started on pole, maintained that position. It's what he needs to do if he's going to try to get back in this championship fight and start picking up some points and having the good finishes that we know he's capable of.
Absolutely. So he's the smooth operator, and he gives his championship run a little bit of a kiss of life. How about that? That was like a double Chardet reference there.
Yeah, really well played.
Thank you. Well, we're into the warm-up, so they're going to have 5 minutes here, and the coordinated effort of the drivers to get back out onto the racetrack, and they'll do a little bit of track work here as they attack the racing surface, and then we will be ready to go for the feature race to follow. So we will bring the timing screen back up on the board. Let's get the long one up so that we can see who maybe goes faster and who maybe doesn't. Cole Henschel getting a little out of whack here as they just get up to speed. And Jonathan, it's very easy for us to notice that the sun is going down, and I'm sure that's going to play an effect on these cars, and especially with the racing surface.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I think there's more than a few drivers who are testing the outer banks of this racetrack right now and seeing what's up there. I think that's a smart move. We saw early in the heat races, it was all about being a bottom feeder, all about wrapping that bottom line right around where the berm is. Now you can see them drifting up towards the wall. Some are entering high, some are exiting high, some are drifting up right in the middle of the corners. It's good to see them exploring the space of the racetrack here and really seeing what's going to work and hopefully what's going to get you moving forward.
Yeah, they're all over the place, all exploring. We'll check out some of the other drivers. Anthony Roselli there, championship leader coming into tonight. And actually, we didn't show that. We should bring the points up on the board so that everybody can see where we're at right now. Anthony Roselli comes into tonight with 205 points, with Gary Edwards III at 198, just 7 points behind him. So that is including all of the races so far. That is not including the drop that is going to happen, where the field, everybody will drop their worst night of points. So for a lot of the field, that's going to be dropping an event that they did not participate in. But up at the top of the board, mostly all those names are drivers who have yet to miss a race, Cole Henschel being the one that has. And so from maybe, say, race 7 or 6 onwards, we're going to start putting those points up on the board to include the drop. But for the time being, we're still not quite there yet. Anthony Roselli still holding the lead in this facet.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how these things play out with the drops, like you say. There's some drivers who are going to lose some really great finishes, but that's kind of how the system works, right? I mean, if your worst finish is a 6, then you get to drop a 6. That's a lot of points off the board, but if you miss a race, then you don't feel so bad either. So it kind of evens out in the long run and should make for a good championship battle towards the end of the season, like you say, when we start factoring in those drops with maybe a race or 2 to go.
Yeah, and I think it's more fair to the guys racing. I mean, it would be cool if, like, local scenes did it with their track championships as well, but when you consider, like, iRacing and this game and simulation that we play together, it's a great time, but, you know, you've got real-life things that happen sometimes, and I know there have been times where I've had to miss events because of sickness or emergencies, and the rest of the field the same, especially coming into the holiday season. Like, it's just kind of the right thing to do, in my opinion, to give that sort of leeway of, like, if you need to miss a race, you can. I think it's a good way to bridge series that run over the holidays like this one.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like the other thing, too, about, you mentioned, like, dropping at local racetracks. It's kind of like, there's kind of some weird things that can happen. I mean, weird things can happen in racing regardless of whether it's reality or iRacing. But I feel like with it being a computer game, there's a lot of reasons that, you know, you might be disconnected. Maybe you got a power outage. You know, I remember doing a broadcast on BRP TV where I was with you guys, middle of the thing, and then all of a sudden the entire grid dropped, you know, well, mid-broadcast, and you had to finish it out on your own while I was waiting for the power to come back on.
I remember
These things happen, and you know what? It's better in the long run when we're just trying to have some fun that you can basically run the schedule and you don't have to worry about committing to the point where you're missing out on family time or you're missing out on other things that may come up around the holidays.
Absolutely agreed with that. As the clock will tick down, Isaac Salas was fastest on the board. Chad Lackey and Cole Henschel round out your top 3. We also can really quickly run one more time to say thank you to Cacti Fabrication, BRP TV, HigFab Chassis, Precision Engine Service, Savage House Performance, Vertex Graphics, Murder Graphics, MDR Designs, the Inkvine Company, Creative Turnings, 47 Technology, and the Southern Ontario Dirt Show for being a part of the show tonight. And as always, we need to give a shout out to everybody watching along on YouTube. Be sure to drop a comment on who you're rooting for and who you're picking for the mid-season championship feature, which is just about to come up. We always love seeing who's watching and who they are rooting for as the clocks tick over, and we will move into the actual feature session, and the starting grid will come up on the screen as they get ready and get out onto the racetrack. And Jonathan, if this is right, we've got ourselves a new pole sitter, someone we have not seen up at the front before, Jesse Hedges.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. And Hunter Lapp up there on the front row as well. This is going to make for a really interesting feature, I think. Brendan Finley, he's been fast, hasn't quite had that track position. He'll start third. Matthew Schultz, we've seen him start up towards the front and not quite be able to maintain that position, but he's got another opportunity in a track where he looked pretty confident earlier in the night. Isaac Salas is going to start fifth. Cole Henschel sixth. Those two are probably the drivers to watch, being that close towards the front of the field. Anthony Roselli will start seventh. Chad Lackey in eighth. Gary Edwards ninth. Kenny Coe. So I'm guessing that means it was actually a 10-car inversion. 10-car inversion for setting the field tonight.
That is what it looks like. We move back to 11th place. You've got Dominic Roselli in car number 80. Cody Higbee to his outside. So that little middle pack area has some very heavy-hitting drivers in it. Anthony Vitale starting 13th. Bud Molyneux to his outside in 14th with car 883. You've got Dean Reynolds kind of marred back there in the 79 car. He starts 15th with Dylan Smith in the 15S to his outside. Mikey Horton driving his old slingshot body in 17th on the grid, and starting 18th outside of him is Austin Smith. Jeff Sharp driving car number 28 will go on the inside of row 10. To his outside is going to be the 171 of Jake Henry. And then the last three on the grid, Brian Lawson in the 57, Richard Ritchie in the 55, scored as the 406, and Edward Owens will run from shotgun in car number 71. So that is your starting lineup for 75 laps around Knoxville Raceway. This is a great racetrack, fantastic facility. I have been here twice. It is one of the greatest dirt tracks you're going to find in the United States of America, but not so common, so it's a special treat for us to bring you some modified racing. Pace truck should be pulling off this time. The field of 23 will get ready for Barney in the flag stand to wave that green flag. We are checking it out as they come down, and we are about to roar to life as the Southern Tier Elite Series kicks off race number 5 with a bang. Here we go. We're green flag racing.
Fields fans out, 3 wide kind of in spots. Some good action down the back straightaway as they're trying to figure out where is going to be the quick line here to run. And look at Hunter Lapp to the front around Hedges. Hedges trying to hang on to second. And look at Isaac Salas quickly moving up inside the top 5, trying to make the pass now for third on Schultz.
We've lost Gary Edwards the third by the looks of it. He might pop back into the session. It might be a lag spike for the 21 car. We saw him do that last week, but it looks like the 21 car is off the racetrack. That's big implications for the championship as Hunter Lapp continues to hold the lead here. Jesse Hedges is running P2. Matthew Schultz, we're used to him in orange, but tonight he's in black with purple and green on the side. He runs inside the top 3. Past the stripe again, we've already ticked 4 of them away.
Lapp trying to move forward in this one. Try to clear and build a bit of a gap back to Hedges. Hedges doing all he can to hang on a second. Schultz wants it. He's trying to move forward. Salas drops back. Finley has dropped back as well. And it looks like we got a new challenger up in here. The 4 car moving forward in this one, trying to make the pass for third. There goes Schultz on the outside in the 24. Salas wants to follow him around the outside. Good battle here. Look at on the outside. Even Lapp is under fire now. Hedges taking a look to the inside. Great racing throughout the top 5, no matter where you look. Oh, big slider thrown there.
Oh, big contact there, too, and that's going to be the 66 Chad Lackey, or scored as the 1, around on the inside, and the yellow flags come out. We tried to catch back to him, and maybe some slight damage there on the front right for the car scored as the 66. Tough break for Chad Lackey. We will be able to get a replay back, and it's a pretty simple one here, Jonathan, but not the best way to start things off, although I will say you have a fair amount of time to recover from this if you're Chad Lackey.
Definitely, and it was kind of almost bound to happen. There's just so much action going on, especially towards the front of the field. Everybody fighting for every inch of this racetrack. It's a wide surface, but still, these modifieds, they can take up a lot of room sometimes. We'll see what happens here. You can see Lackey in the Joe Plaza, Canada Joe, classic scheme.
It's going to be a kind of a meet in the middle situation, I think, with Salas there. Salas and Schultz make contact, and then this is where it happens for Lackey.
Yep. Yeah, Schultz, or I guess Salas came down there, and there was just no way that was predictable. That was kind of one of those things where it just kind of probably fell right into the lap of the 66, unfortunately, there. So just a bummer racing deal, honestly.
Yeah, that's a tough break, and especially considering Lackey really hasn't had like the shine out experience yet this year of a race that went super well for him, unfortunately. So that's going to hinder his ability to do that tonight, which he was in pretty good position to do so. Gary Edwards III is back out onto the racetrack. It was some sort of issue with the connection for the 21 car, and he is scored one lap down as it stands. We'll see if they give him a wave around to get him back onto the lead lap here, or if he's going to be stuck like this for a little bit. That yellow flag should technically get him moving, and yes, there he goes. Yes, it says on the side, as he will get the wave around to get back onto the lead lap. That's the second week in a row that's happened, Jonathan, and that is not what Gary Edwards needed, because he was, maybe he was in contention for something.
Yeah, but you know what? 75 laps, still 70 to go. He's got so much time to make up something, and you know that it's probably going to be the kind of night where maybe cautions breed cautions. It's obvious that the racing action is going to be tight. You never know how this is going to play out. I think there's time for Gary. We'll reevaluate this by lap 50.
That's a good number. We can reevaluate it as we get closer. The field getting ready. They're double filed up. That is, looks like Hunter Lapp on the outside getting a little bit excited about getting off the line for the restart here. He chose the outside. Jesse Hedge is going to be stuck with the inside line as the pace track lights are still on, actually, so we still have at least one more time around it. It should be one time around the racetrack before we go back to green. So Hunter Lapp just feeling out the racetrack a little bit by the looks of it, just trying to get an idea of what turns 3 and 4 are going to feel like when he gets over there.
Yeah, and you know what, Joe? I gotta give a lot of credit to our front runners. They've held their ground very, very well. I know it's early, only 5 laps in, but I really thought with Salas riding right there, I thought he was going to work his way forward and get out front really quick and continue the kind of dominance that we've seen from him in certain moments. Again, hasn't won. Oh, he's only won one feature on the season, and I say only one, but it was a pretty convincing win. So I feel like Salas being this close to the front of the field, as they stack up pretty good on that restart. That was a bit of a janky one. I think a lot of the field thought they were going to go, and Lapp definitely waited on him, and he got the better of Hedges on that start.
Yep, we got Bud Molyneux in trouble here. The yellow flag comes right back out right away as something went wrong on the restart further back into the field as well. Must have been a consequence of how far backed up everything got there. And Bud Molyneux we'll catch a replay back and see. It looks like that car has damage, and I'm going to just hold out really quick because it looks... I thought he was going to go to the pits. I was wrong. All right, let's get the replay back and see what happened with the 883 car. Ooh, this is a big one.
Yeah, you can see they really stacked up on the initial start of this thing. Molyneux doesn't get going really well at all, and then Smith looks like he'll get to the inside pretty quickly. 3 wide coming across the stripe, and then... Oh.
There's the contact, Mikey Horton.
Yeah, Horton just came down. There was nowhere for him to go. And I think Chad Lackey's going to get a really big piece of this. Yep, there it is.
That's a big hit for Lackey, and he just had nowhere to go around that, Jonathan.
No.
And poor Bud Molyneux, too. Like, that was just situational and definitely not his fault to be in that position anyway.
No, it's almost like I think Horton probably expected Molyneux to go low, probably not realizing that he already had a driver to the inside with Dylan Smith being able to kind of jump on that restart. And we're jumping back to the green flag now. We'll keep an eye on these back markers, see if they can get forward in this one, and we'll keep an eye at the front where Hunter Lapp has gone back to the top spot, trying to drive away from Hedges. Hedges then ahead of Schultz, or excuse me, ahead of the 4 car, which is actually the 3 car of Henschel tonight.
Yeah, Henschel looks strong tonight, and Hedges also is having a great start to things here as we come back to the front stretch with Hunter Lapp leading the way. But Cole Henschel just has the car tonight. Like, you can look at this thing and the way he's running down on the inside. I don't know if I'd necessarily guarantee that he's found something down there. It looks to me like that car is just that good tonight.
Yeah, he's really got something going on, and this is almost a 3-car battle for the lead now. Hunter Lapp's got to be careful as Hedges was trying to get to the middle. Look at the run from Salas. He really drove it in there. Henschel's riding that 4 car, which is a tribute to one of his dad's first race cars, and he is trying to take it right to the front and make Pops proud. Up front, Hunter Lapp still doing a good job of holding onto that lead, but for how long, as Henschel is there and looks like he'll throw the slider and take the top spot.
Cole Henschel jumps to the race lead, but maybe a crossover attempt coming from Hunter Lapp down the back straightaway. He does get the nose down in there, and he's going to send it in deep, uses the berm as a little bit of assistance, and the 4 is going to try to cross him back again as they come back to the stripe. Cole Henschel will take the lead at the line. Jesse Hedges is still a part of this equation, but this time around, Cole Henschel holds on to the inside line. Oh,
hey, I don't want to say that I'm right, and I also don't know that this wasn't maybe a correction that happened, but look who's running 6th right now, Joe.
Well, Matthew Schultz is... Oh, you mean 5th? I'm sorry, he already passed... he already passed Schultz as you said it. I was like, yeah, Matthew Schultz, he's been up there. But yeah, Gary Edwards is in 5th already. Oh my goodness. That is, I'm stunned. I don't even, how did he even do that?
That is impressive. I don't even know how that even happened, but I blinked and I looked up and I was like, there's a purple and yellow and black car. Who's that? And like, is that Edwards? And it is. And man, oh man, is the cream rising to the top here at Knoxville tonight. We are seeing some of our best drivers in the series race their way forwards, overcoming early adversities. And now, you know what we're shaping up for? This could be one heck of a battle between Edwards, if he can get around Lapp. Salas is up to 5th. And then you've got Henschel, our only two-time feature winner on the season, riding up there trying to win his 3rd of the season.
Well, right now, only one driver in the top 4 is not going for a 2-timer, and that is Hunter Lapp, because Gary Edwards was able to take a victory already this season. Gary Edwards... Or excuse me, he actually hasn't. I got ahead of myself. I'm so used to seeing him in the podiums that I forgot he actually hasn't won a feature race yet this season. It was Anthony Perigo, and then Cole Henschel and Isaac Salas getting victories so far. So you can see up here that Salas is putting, as the yellow flag comes out actually, so we're going to have to take a pause on the racing action and see what happened. But yeah, Salas was definitely pushing hard to keep Henschel honest. So we'll catch this replay back here, and I think it's going to involve Matthew Schultz, unfortunately. It does. He's still sitting on the racetrack, so we'll get the timing screens out of the way, get the replay up, and check out what happened to the 24 car.
Such a shame, too. Schultz was having a great night. Started up towards the front. Was still running relatively well at the time of caution. Just outside the top 5.
This is going to be out of turn number 2 where we see this Kenny Coe there in the yellow on the inside and Finley down there, Anthony Roselli right behind him. I'm curious which one of them is going to be the cause of this.
Almost looks like maybe it's going to be a squeeze play. Oh, it's like he just lifted.
Yeah, it's like something happened to the 24 car. Yeah, he has no power right there. Yeah,
Roselli gets him. That's super strange. I'm not sure what happened to that 24 car. You know, like if you disconnect, Joe, like maybe for the audience at home, if you disconnect from the game or something happens, your car usually doesn't just slow down. Usually it will just kind of blip off the screen completely.
Right.
And that won't interfere with other drivers. Whereas this was just like It's almost like I wonder if like his controller disconnected or something. Like maybe his wheel at home or something like that has happened because there, unless he just had to lift that badly for Finley. Oh, there's contact. Okay.
Ah, I'm gonna fidget with this one more time, and we're gonna see if we can catch anything in from the inside.
Yeah, like right there. There's contact, and that causes him to lift. It's almost like when they made contact, like he broke something in the front end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with
And then
that.
he just was kind of along for the ride after that because Roselli was right on his tail.
Yeah, that was strange. Like, it would actually be easier for us to explain what happened if it was real life, because you could chalk it up to some sort of like mechanical issue. I think he seems to be back underway and clear, but that was very odd, I will say. Jeez.
Well, a little bit of strangeness to start this race, but still a long way to go, and I think we're feeling good about our front few drivers. But maybe it's somebody who can pull a surprise. I've been really impressed with what I've seen from Hedges so far. He is holding his own, still up there in the top 5. Maybe he can get back in this fight. Finley right there as well. And how about Kenny Coe, a driver who really needs a good finish up towards the front of the field and very capable of going and stealing a win.
Yes, Kenny Coe, a very strong driver in the multitudes of races we've seen here on BRP TV over the years. But Gary Edwards, he is not here to mess around. He wants to get to the front, and he's going to go quick. The 21 car into the top 3 already after dipping out of the session with some sort of connection issue, going a lap down, and then getting the grace of a caution to get back into the show of things. He is now fighting to get himself into second place in a tribute car to his father from 2003. Gary Edwards to the inside of Isaac Salas. It's not quite going to go yet, but he is definitely on the binders, and I would say he is in that group of drivers who can win tonight. These 3 at the front kind of separated themselves, in my mind, Jonathan, from the rest of the field when it comes to getting into the victory lane at the end of it. Although, I say that, and Brendan Finley has showed up.
Yeah, Finley looks really strong on this restart. He has really come to life, and he is having some great speed through the corners, and that is where it's allowing him to close in on Salas in front of him. Although now they're kind of all bunched up on the outside there. I feel like Finley's going to have to be careful about how he tiptoes around Salas, because if he's not careful, he's going to get swallowed up from behind as the Hunter Lap 60 ride is riding right there. And how about Gary Edwards trying to make that move to the outside work on Cole Henschel? Henschel's doing the slide job up in front, but you can see how much momentum that Henschel loses running that low line and sliding and letting that race car wash up, as opposed to what Gary Edwards is doing, running the outside, keeping it wound up, and now he might be able to get alongside. Not quite, but Henschel does give him room.
Henschel had a weird line through 3 and 4. I was actually expecting him to slide up in 4, and he didn't. Gary Edwards goes to the inside in 3, and there's actually grip there. Yellow flag comes out. That is going to stop things. And I'm going to see if I can figure out what happened. I think it's Anthony Roselli again. That is a tough break for the 7 car. Mama Liz is not going to be thrilled to bring this replay back, and you can definitely tell that the 7 car has damage.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do on that 7 car. Probably going to be one of those quick resets. We'll see what happened to him. And not the night that Anthony Roselli wanted as the points leader.
We'll have to go back one more. So, Brian, no, he's already got the damage.
I was going to say, he's already dropped way back, too, because he wasn't running at the back of the field like that, I don't think. Although he did get a piece of that accident with Schultz, so maybe he was back there.
Well,
this might tell a better picture. Oh, Schultz is going to go around in front of him.
I'm going to hit one more time backwards. It's just a slew of cars, Jonathan. It's just like a hornet's nest, and then contact with Brian Lawson and Matthew Schultz, and then at some point here he's going to knock the front end out of it.
Yeah, it just gets hits on both sides of the front wheels, and that's just a mess.
Mm-hmm. I don't blame Anthony for what he does here, where he goes into the corner. Like, I wouldn't expect the front end to be knocked out from something like that, especially like considering it's iRacing. I'm surprised that the front end is loosened off there.
Yeah, and then poor the 71 just kind of piles in there, and Gets a
Oh,
piece of it. Owens, that's a tough break for him. But yeah, it's definitely strange. I feel like you would think that I guess it was heavier contact. Maybe the slow mo replay doesn't quite do it justice for how hard those cars hit. But yeah, you'd think maybe like both, maybe one tire, but not both. I think both of those front wheels were really damaged, which led to the wreck for Roselli.
yeah. That's a tough break for Anthony, and that's tough for the championship as the points leader, as Cole Henschel, one of the main competitors for him, is leading, and Gary Edwards, another one of the main competitors, is in second. Green flag's going to come back out. We're almost a third of the way through this feature. We've got a couple yellows in. We'll see if we go. See if we got more of a run in, or if the cautions breed cautions thing will still hold true.
It's getting so tight. There it is. Oh, that could be a big one. I think everybody's going to make it through cleanly, maybe. They're still stacking up. This is going to get ugly. There's no way they all make it through without a call. Maybe. Okay.
There was I thought so. I saw names dropping down the order, but apparently we're fine.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of bumper cars throughout the field, man. It is not just at the front. It's not just at the back. There is no safe place to be except for maybe out front, and that's what Cole Henschel's trying to do right now. Run away from all this action. Gary Edwards trying to make a challenge on the inside line now. He's down on the bottom, tasked with making that line work, and he can't do it. Isaac Salas gets by. Now Salas uses that middle groove. Ooh, he gets tagged from Edwards. That got a little hairy there through 3 and 4.
And it looks like it's all clear. Salas really going up high here, and Kenny Coe moves into the top 5 as well. The lead still holds for Cole Henschel. He is fighting tonight, so the first win he got was very much clear, not really any contention behind. If he's able to take the victory tonight, he is going to have a very different story to tell as the caution flag comes out again. And I think I'll have to see who this is for this time. I don't think this is Edward Owens. I think this is... we'll have to wait and see. This might be Richard Ritchie as he comes into the pits.
There is a lot of cars that all bounce together, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody broke something or something happened that jammed up the field. Yeah. This has been crazy at the back of the field, man.
Yeah. So Richard Ritchie scored his 2 laps down at this point. Oh my goodness. It's like the car just it's like something broke underneath him instantaneously, and you wouldn't believe who got contact from that one again. Man,
oh, no.
Tonight is just not Anthony Roselli's night.
Well, I think he's going to have a new race that he probably is going to use as his drop going forward.
Yeah, I would say so. Check this back. Just go back one more time. Check it out from maybe a camera that's a little bit better. He just
Yeah, he's broke.
It gripped up on him. Yeah, something must have broken on the 55 car as he went through the corner. Jeez. That's a tough break.
What a strange incident.
Yeah. So we will be back on live here. Anthony Roselli. So Anthony Roselli definitely used up his fast repairs, so he's getting fixed up down in there right now. Caution laps do not count, so he will return to the racetrack on the lead lap, so long as he can return to the racetrack before they go green, because the pace truck's lights are out. Cole Henschel, Isaac Salas, Gary Edwards. I wonder what they're thinking, Jonathan, if they're glad to get the breaks or if they want more of a long run. I would think Henschel's okay with the breaks.
I'm sure Henschel's okay with the breaks, but I feel like it's Salas and it's Edwards that are really frustrated right now because they keep kind of starting to put things together and then it goes away on them. An early start there as Henschel is on it. As soon as the pace truck is in at the front of the box, he fires. And you can see these drivers getting closer and closer, wrapping it around the boards here at up top here at Knoxville.
They come down the backstretch. We're a little bit sucked into the racetrack there. Man, that is close for the lead of this race right now as they come through 3 and 4. Back to the front stretch, Isaac Salas going to dive to the inside. Going to take a look at Cole Henschel, and he is actually going to indeed slide for the lead, but Henschel backs up the momentum, and the 4 car goes back to the front, down the back straightaway. Finley into the top 3 for the first time today, and Henschel almost slides himself there, Jonathan, and Salas is going to try to capitalize.
These are 2 heavyweights trading blows right now. Oh, Salas bit it there. He jumped the curb, and I think he's going to get away with it. Wow. It almost seemed like it helped him slow the car down enough to be able to make the rotation in the corner. I thought for sure he was going right into the wall, but now Isaac Salas, your new leader, clear of Henschel. Here comes Edwards trying to make the move on Finley to get himself back in the top 3.
Well, I'll tell you why that worked for Salas was because Cole Henschel and Brendan Finley made contact in the middle of the corner, and that got the 4-car woed up enough that Salas had a gap to get up there into. I think Henschel would have been able to run him back down on the backstretch if that wouldn't have happened, but for the luck of the 5-car, he at least held the lead for like 2 laps there. Henschel's going to slide him, crossed back over. Isaac Salas, I think it's fair to say he might have control of this one for the moment.
Knoxville, known to be a sprint car racetrack, Joe, and it's like they're racing sprint cars right now. The way these guys are throwing sliders so aggressively, it's impressive to watch, and every inch matters, every single rip of speed that you can get. As we see Salas just blip there for a second, but he's still out front, ahead of Henschel. Look at Finley down low trying to make something happen. Edwards is trying to figure his way out. He wants to get to the front of the field. Gary Edwards winning this race would be huge for his championship chase.
Absolutely. It would also be huge for him just to get that first win of the season. You got to have that breakthrough night where you do it once to then prove to yourself that you can do it again. And right now, Gary Edwards, maybe he's just biding his time a little bit because Salas and Henschel they've got enough of a hard race between them that I think he's probably content to stay out of it for a second there, Jonathan.
You got to think these guys are getting close to wearing some stuff down, maybe using their stuff up a little bit. The longer this goes on, you can't just keep trading blows like this and taking runs and doing everything that these guys are doing without either making a mistake or just eating up that race car and some of the good that the tires have in this surface, right? So right now, I think Gary's kind of in the catbird seat in a way because he doesn't have to necessarily get aggressive and throw any kind of major moves. He can take advantage of any of or both of them, make a mistake. If they wad up, he's in the catbird seat. And speaking of wadding up, we got a wreck on the backstretch, and it's Dirk Hardin that's involved.
Yep, Dean Reynolds involved in a crash on the back straightaway, brings out the yellow again. And for the first time in a while, Isaac Salas will be the leader back to a restart instead of Cole Henschel. So let's hit the buttons and get this back up, and we will see what happened to car number 79. Dirk Hardin and Jonathan, this is going to stack up. Oh, this camera. There we go. This is Hedges and Lawson, and then up into Dean Reynolds. And Molyneux gets a piece of it. Lackey gets a piece of it. Pretty substantial damage to the 79 car.
Yeah, a lot of guys who were having great nights. We talked about Hedges. Lackey was making a charge back through the field. Not quite a Gary Edwards level of charging, but he was moving his way back after having some early issues in the race, and Dirk Hardin was kind of just steadily minding his P's and Q's, working inside the top 10. They all just stack up. There's only so much real estate around Knoxville.
Yeah, and the real estate that they had ran out pretty quickly because we're running full-sized big block modifieds. But Dean Reynolds came into tonight, third in points, looking good. He was excited to bring this tribute car out, the Roger Horvath 1991 machine. And I'm not saying this night's over. It's definitely not over, but that's not what he would have wanted to have happen, especially right as we get to the crisp side of getting halfway into this feature race.
It's, you know what, one of those things, too, where you can have a mistake early and you can overcome it, but the further we get into this race, the deeper it goes, it really does seem like you're going to run out of time to make any kind of comeback.
Yeah, and that's tough That's a tough thing to start to have to acknowledge that is coming into the picture now. Checking in on the Rosellis, Anthony has been using these yellows to get damages repaired on the 7 car. So he has scored 1 lap down in 20th. His brother is scored 21st, and he is parked. So something has happened to the 80 car, whether it be his connection or whatnot. And Dominic Roselli is no longer in this event, so he will... Unfortunately, I think it's safe to say he is done. Edward Owens is done for the night. He has parked the 71 car. Richard Ritchie III is back there in the 55. He is currently 7 laps down to the leaders, but he is on the racetrack, so he will just keep ticking away laps and try to get himself a little bit further up in the standings by getting those extra points at the end of the race.
Dallas continuing to lead. Edwards trying to make something happen on the low side. Right there is Henschel as well, rocking his dad's tribute scheme as it is a throwback weekend here. And It looks like we're under caution, and once again, another caution's going to come out.
I'm not sure who this is for. I think it's for Austin Smith. Oh, Jesse Hedges might be a piece of this, as he's going to jump into the pit lane. Context clues are telling me Jesse Hedges is going to be the culprit of this, so let's see what we get when we go back in the replay. Ooh. Oh, man. And, you want to talk about a bad night. Driver of this 55 car, Richard Ritchie. He just don't ever come back to the racetrack with a costume on again. Holy moly.
Oh, wow. What a hit. Again, the car just kind of took off on him, and Hedges, an innocent bystander in this, gets taken out. But, yeah, it's almost like that car was going to spin. Ritchie overcorrected, and once he made the overcorrection, he just kind of sailed it right in there.
Yeah.
Right into the wall hard.
And that's pretty hard contact for Hedges as well. So, not the worst, but definitely substantial and will affect him moving forwards. That's a shame for Richard Ritchie. He was trying, like I said, he was trying to tick off laps to get that position back on Dominic Roselli so that he could get that, actually, I think back there they all are in the same amount of points. So he was just trying to stay in this race. But Anthony Roselli still sitting on the pit lane. And, yeah, not a good night for Richard Ritchie at all.
No, not the kind of night you want to have in the slightest, but it's been a good night for our leaders so far. And it just feels like if we get one of those longer green flag runs again, Joe, and they start trading blows again, the longer this goes, the more the racetrack wears, the more their equipment wears. It's just going to open the door for mistakes, and it could be costly. And maybe it opens the door for somebody to have a surprise run at the front of the field like Kenny Coe. Maybe he can go and capitalize and get back to victory lane, or at least get on the podium in that tribute scheme that he's running, a car that we discussed that kind of looks like a proper modified, I'd say.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. They went to single file for the restart this time. Isaac Salas in complete control of it as the green flag comes back out. We are officially halfway through the race tonight here, and Isaac Salas is your leader at this point. So halfway through the halfway break, well, not halfway break, halfway race of the season. It is car number 5 up front, and Gary Edwards trying to put a pressure on to get himself into second place with Cole Henschel, the main rival.
Salas trying to become a 2-time feature winner on the season. Already picked up a win once this year, earlier on in the schedule, and trying to keep pace with some of the likes of Cole Henschel, who's already picked up
my
2
goodness.
wins on the season. Oh, there's a mistake. That's what I'm talking about, but I thought it wouldn't be Edwards. I thought it'd be somebody else. Now Edwards is going to have to recollect himself. Hunter Lapp almost gets together there with Kenny Coe, and Brendan Finley, the big winner, he's up to P3.
Brendan Finley, he's had a sneaky night so far, and he's got himself into the podium yet again here. We'll have to see if he can hold Gary Edwards back. Looks like right now this track's pretty much a one-lane at the top racetrack. You see Cole Henschel up there leaning on the wall. You see Isaac Salas running up there. It doesn't look like right now is the time for Gary Edwards to make a pass back. He tried it there out of turn number 2, so he might just have to wait this out a little bit, see how the track develops, and then maybe inside of lap 45 or 50, he'll have the ability to put a really good run down. But right now, it just doesn't look like it unless you take a big slider like that. Leap of faith, and it works for Gary Edwards.
Yeah, for now, here comes Finley back with a run on the inside. Hunter Lapp and Kenny Coe dueling it out over a spot inside the top 5, just behind that battle as well. Meanwhile, Cole Henschel trying to stay in the zip code of Isaac Salas. Hasn't been able to do it. It's 5 car. Looks kind of like it's on a rail, although I will say, did look like he kind of banged it up against the boards there. No harm, no foul. Salas continues to drive away with the lead.
And look at this. Another driver who got into trouble, went to the back of the field, and now has come back up towards the front. Matthew Schultz has got himself back into the top 10 here. He's fighting with Dylan Smith and Cody Higbee right now. Higbee in 7th, scored as 7th at least, and he goes up the racetrack. Will allow Chris Smith and Matthew Schultz to jump down the inside. And Schultz way up on the berm there, has to get it back under control.
Yeah, really impressive drive back through the field for Matt Schultz after a couple of incidents that collected that 24 car.
Oh,
He's
my goodness.
Still really pushing it down low. And how about Lackey? Lackey's up in this battle as well in the Joe Plaza tribute scheme. We'll love to see that moving forward as well. kind of a quiet night from Cody Higbie. I know he's in front of all these drivers that we're talking about right now. Kind of thought I'd see a little bit more noise from that 97 machine. Hasn't happened yet, as there's no room for mistakes, no room for error. These guys are putting it all out on the line right now as we're approaching almost 25 laps to go.
Yep, you got Mikey Horton up there absolutely getting down to business. Cody Higbie, maybe he's waiting. I don't know. Cody Higbee's just good at, like, showing up at the end, especially when you talk about long races. And maybe he heard us talking about him on the broadcast, Jonathan, because he's now made that pass with Hunter Lapp. He's got the battle still going here. This would be to get himself into 6th place. Kenny Coe is right in front of him, and I mean right in front of him. So that is the top 5 peering back at him as he goes into turn number 1 again. Gary Edwards the third there. You can see it looks like everybody's shifted to the bottom side of the racetrack at the front of the field. It's been top dominant, and now it's maybe moving back to bottom dominant. Doesn't really look like we have 2 equal lines at the moment.
No, it's really hard to tell where to run, but it's also probably a lot of driver preferences. Everybody's gone back to the bottom amongst the front runners. Still looks like our leader, Solis, is up high, but Edwards has dropped down. You see the battle here for the 5th spot, and Higbee's really good at running the bottom. He is bad fast. Oh, contact! Kenny Coe gets into it with Edwards and then almost comes down and gets Higbie.
Oh,
and
my
they're
goodness.
Still making contact over that 5th spot. Edwards cannot be happy with Kenny Coe, as Kenny Coe has just kind of muscled his way by.
Yep, and Hunter Lapp's in the picture there. But, man, he capitalized. Cody Higbie, we almost like manifested this, Jonathan, that Higbie has now come into form to get himself into 4th place. And I would not be surprised if I saw that 97 car picking up into the top 3 in a couple laps. Cody Higbie can get a car into the podium at the end of a race like this, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do.
Pay window's starting to open up, and Cody Higbie is starting to show up. He is moving his way forward in this one, up to 4th, trying to run down Finley. Has the bottom side drift up kind of line, we'll call it, for lack of a better term. That's kind of working for him right now. Up front, Isaac Salas has got a little bit of breathing room back to Cole Henschel. Henschel falling back into the clutches of Finley. If those two get battling, that could be the break that Cody Higbie needs to get himself in this mix.
Last time by the line, the fastest driver on the racetrack was Isaac Salas. Or excuse me, hold on, I'm looking at the wrong column. Fastest driver on the racetrack last time by the line was actually Brendan Finley. And this time by, it's going to be Cody Higbie, fastest, with Isaac Salas right there as well. But Finley is really good right now. I mean, he is just consistently putting up really good lap times, even though he's not really making any progress or having the ability to fight Cole Henschel. That J7 car is hooked up.
Looking pretty smart right now, pretty stout. With Finley, he's got this thing kind of working in a unique line. It seems like wherever he needs to run, he can put the race car right now, and that's allowing him to stay in touch with Henschel, and maybe if Henschel slips up ever so slightly, Finley can take advantage. It doesn't look like he's got enough pace to maybe get alongside him naturally. Henschel will have to slip up, I think, if Finley's going to make the pass.
Yeah, definitely looks like that, because the only driver really running any sort of crazy line right now, something a little bit different, is Cody Higbie. And it has been working, as this time by, he's the fastest driver to the line. So Higbee's line is working, and what he's doing is getting him into the clutches of Brendan Finley and Cole Henschel. But getting caught up to them is one thing, and passing them is another. And when you start looking at the way this racetrack's running and the way that Higbee's using the entire thing, I would be nervous about Higbee's, like, what is Higbie going to have to do to actually put the pass down to get past him, because he's using the entire racetrack.
Yeah, he's got it figured out right now. Like, Higbie, oh, wow, I thought that might be the move. I thought that car was going to stick really well in the middle and get him to the outside of Finley. The battle is definitely closening up. And even Isaac, he's not necessarily as far out as he has been in front of the rest of our front runners here with 15 laps to go now. Isaac Salas has got to tiptoe his way through things, and then Henschel right there as well. Higbie looks like he might be able to break into the top 3 soon. He's trying to get to the outside of Finley. Can't quite do it, but he's within a car length.
15 laps to go for the leaders here as Cody Higbie goes to the outside Brendan Finley trying to defend on the inside. You can just see Kenny Coe right there. He rounds out your top 5 right now. Cole Henschel maybe starting to take a page out of the Cody Higbee book. His line's starting to get a little bit more extravagant. Brendan Finley, Cody Higbee, and the yellow flag will have to pause all of this. Looks like Austin Smith in the 14 car are going to bring us the caution, and we will have to pull a replay to see what happened. That was some really good racing. We got a nice long green flag run in there, Jonathan, and unfortunately it's going to have to take a pause.
Yeah, dang. Hey, that was a lot of fun that we were seeing there, but it's well, we'll see what's going to be the issue here, and we'll see how it works out at the front of the field, but I feel as though we're in for a dandy. Let's see what happens to Austin Smith here. Looks like they're already scrambling in front. Yeah, Bud Molyneux's around.
And actually almost no contact at all, but the 14 is going to be the slowest car on the racetrack when the yellow comes out. We're going to push this back one more time and see what happens to Bud Molyneux as he will go into the corner. And he's not even the one really to cause it. It's Mikey Horton getting all squirreled up, and then the 883 goes around. So that's the 883 going around, and then we'll give it one more time. And we'll see what happened to Mikey Horton with Hunter Lapp and Chad Lackey. Oh, there it is. Matthew Schultz into him. Man, that was like, you just go piece by piece to like figure out what actually happened there, Jonathan. I feel like I was playing Clue.
Yeah, it really felt like it was like you kind of like pull the thread and it just keeps coming with which incidents are. Well, where the incident begins and where it continues on. Just one of those strange things. We've seen some strange wrecks tonight. I don't really know how else to explain it, Joe. It's just been drivers kind of running out of space, running over each other, getting loose, getting sideways. I'm just trying to catch my breath because I've thoroughly enjoyed this battle at the front, and it's so far from over. Isaac Salas is going to need a big restart here with Cole Henschel on his outside.
Yeah, this is going to be... We're going to have to wait and see what happens here. Green flag comes back out. Holy moly cannoli. Kenny Coe to the inside big time on Brendan Finley. Muscles his way in, and Chad Lackey's getting screwed up here in the middle of the corner. Look out. Holy monster jam. 33 car was in the air, and the yellow flag comes back out.
Yeah, that was a tough break for Lackey. I was really hoping he'd get back towards the front of the field there. What else do you say about that? Kenny Coe was shot out of a rocket ship. That move to the inside really stacked up and surprised everyone. And once again, it's one of those, the accident where it takes place is probably about 3 cars back from where it actually started.
Oh, Chris Smith. Yep. I want to watch this. Like, Tom Mintz would be proud of this. Hold on. We're going to get the airtime here. Mein Gott. Here we go.
Looks like maximum destruction is prime.
Absolutely. So we'll get back to serious here, and we'll check out Chad Lackey is going to be the one we really want to see. So let's get this back. And I'm going to get this backwards. One more slot. And you're going to see him go in a little hard in the corner. And Chris Smith actually gives him a bit of a tap. Well, the tap goes to Chris first. And then he slides off the banking and back into the 1 car. And then he's going to include more of the field behind him, as is Chad Lackey and Brian Lawson. And then that's where Hedges comes in. Yeah, it's like play the Dukes of Hazzard theme.
It kind of feels like I think Lackey must have jumped out, maybe out of the gas, or maybe hit the brakes because he saw all that contact happening right in front of him between Kenny Coe and Finley. And then as soon as he did that, Smith just kind of ran him over, and there was no turning back from that.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go green flag with a single file restart this time. So the race control said, no, we're not going to do that again. Anthony Roselli has not rejoined the racetrack, so he is marred to the pit lane. So we have lost 4 drivers in this event as we get on to lap 63 with the restart, which this restart was a bit of a mess there, honestly. Yeah, just sleeping on the restart for some of them. Isaac Salas going to capitalize, and then the battle back here between Coe, Edwards, Higbee, and Finley is going to be the exciting part as Matthew Schultz is in the picture again as well.
Yeah, Finley really struggled on that restart. He just did not get going. I don't know if he just was sleeping or something happened, but he just missed it completely, and that jammed up the field. And now look at the battle for the lead. Henschel trying to take a swipe at Salas. Can't make it stick. Down on the inside goes Higbee past Finley for third. Now a big run. I thought maybe Henschel can make it stick, but it's just so hard when you're on that inside, Joe, to make it stay alongside the leader on the outside.
Yeah, we're watching from the spectator cam here up in the grandstands right at turn number 1. It's going to get a little hard to see as they get into turn 3. They're going to be on the far side of the racetrack. But the entries of the corners is where Cole Henschel's trying to make something run in and work, and he just isn't quite capable of getting a run off the corners either. So it's not going to help him put a run on Isaac Salas, but Cody Higbee is able to start getting himself into the picture here. And we've got ourselves a nice race, 10 laps to go to the finish. Cody Higbee is a part of it now.
Yeah, Salas trying to make something happen on the outside to get clear of all this action. Higbee trying to make something happen down low to catch second place driver Henschel. It kind of feels like the storm is brewing. I think this one, if we can get some longer green flag runs right to the finish, maybe we'll see some crazy moves coming to the checkered flag, because they are really close right now. Salas is not getting away with the comfort that he would like to have.
Salas, not the comfort he wants, but nothing to be too ashamed of right here. He's got about a half second in between himself and Henschel. And Henschel's definitely got more of a concern with Higbee in the 97. Oh my goodness! Man, he tried to go yard out of 3, and he is going to lose a lot of momentum trying that. But Isaac Salas might have sweated a little bit there when he saw the 4-car coming in.
And you know what? Now that's made Salas have to think about it, and he tries that line, entering low, going high, and that actually brought Henschel back towards Salas a little bit. Oh, into the wall goes the 4-car. That is Cole Henschel, and that's going to bring Cody Higbee right up to his inside, and now Higbee's going to have a shot at second. Can't make it happen. Back at the battle for fourth, Finley under fire from Edwards. Edwards up on the high side, Finley down low. Edwards trying to steal that spot and get it back towards the podium, and Kenny Coe right there as well on the outside of the top 5. Great racing with coming to 5 laps to go in this one.
I saw Higbee try to run the inside line, and then he kind of backed out of staying low halfway through the corner, so he lost a bit of momentum by having to switch it up like that. Cole Henschel looks like he got a little bit of the wall there out of turn number 2, because his car started horsing up and saddling up in the back. 4 laps to go for your leader, Isaac Salas. This is the most breathing room he's had in a few laps, but it's definitely not enough. Cole Henschel, you see him there in second place with much more breathing room now over Cody Higbee than he had before, but he gets up on the berm, and he's going to have to try to stay low in 3 and 4, and he brings Cody Higbee right back into the picture.
Yeah, but Higbee can't really capitalize. Couldn't make it work on the outside. He'll close back in on Henschel. Henschel's going to have to play defense here rather than going on the offense for the win. Higbee is there. He wants the second spot. And now Edwards with a big move trying to close in on this battle for the second spot. Higbee looking low at a corner 4 down the front stretch. They go into 1 and 2.
Ugh.
Now Higbee's up on the berm, and that's going to bring Edwards that much closer. Doesn't really slow down Higbee at all, though.
I'm surprised because I thought it was going to slow him down more. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go, presented by Precision Engine Service as they will come to it. Isaac Salas has it. The battle for second right now. We will stay with it for the time being. Higbee on Henschel into turn number 1, and that opportunity is missed. He's got one more chance to do it in 3. Jonathan, we're going to have to see if he makes the big lunge.
Can Cody Higbee make it happen down into 3 and 4 for the final time? Look at Edwards with the big run. He'll sail it off there. Higbee's going to try to wrap the bottom and get in a drag race. Checker flag goes to Isaac Salas. Henschel will hang on to second. Higbee rounds out your podium. Great racing once again from the Southern Tier Elite Series.
Yeah, you saw Higbee go through turns 3 and 4. When he went into 3, Henschel kind of stayed down low. He blocked that slider line, and Higbee decided at that point he was going to try to hit the bottom, and that just woed him up enough that he couldn't get the runoff, and that's where sort of it's solidified who's going to end up first, second, third. We're going to give them maybe just a minute to get out of the cars, get into the waiting room for us, and we can hopefully talk to our top 3 drivers. But yeah, Jonathan, it came together really nicely in sort of the last third of that race for a good show.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was a great one to watch. And I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed that race and can't wait to talk to our front runners and front finishers here.
Yep, so we'll give them a second to pop in. We'll see if we get to talk to the drivers of the top 3. Looks like we are still waiting on them. They're definitely getting in their celebrations, and congratulations amongst them. And I see them there. All right, we have got our race winner. Jonathan, I will hand you Isaac Salas to talk to.
Isaac Salas, it's Jonathan Howe up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Congratulations, win number 2 on the season, getting back to victory lane. How does it feel?
Man, it feels awesome, dude. I'll tell you what, I took a nice little vacation. I got to watch from my vacation, and I hated not being here. So to come out and do this good right away was it's super thrilling, man. Super thrilling.
Yeah, it was a great race for you. It's been a great season for you when you can make the shows, and yet another win. But this is probably must feel like maybe the hardest fought win you've had so far this season, as they were challenging you left, right, and center. You had to go and run down Henschel. Just talk to us about the challenge that Knoxville and the competition presented you this week.
Man, it was obviously we all know that these guys are top tier drivers in the sim and in real life. A lot of these guys race in real life, and I don't get the chance to, even though I am pretty involved somehow with all the racing that's out there. But yeah, I mean, between early starts trying to get from 5th up to Cole, and him and I got through there pretty well, together. And I didn't want to let him get truly like full control of the race there. And in that big long stint we had, I don't know what it was. It wasn't too long, but really putting emphasis on running consistent laps and trying to tame the outside here. It's kind of difficult, not gonna lie to you. Not really used to it in a mod. So yeah, I mean, I had a great time, and then at the end there, if Cole doesn't show his nose for another, I don't know, 3-4 laps, I probably don't really have too much there on the high side anymore to kind of challenge him. So yeah, once he did that, and I like truly seen how good that slider line was, I just kind of committed to that, and made him pass me the hard way if he was going to get me. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a blast.
Well, we had a blast watching it as well, buddy. And you're standing on the top step of the podium. So who do you got to shout out? Who do you got to thank for the great drive tonight?
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot. All the guys over at Venom Racing, Dean and the Subaru Car Series for everything that they do for me. Magnum Race Designs, or JRB Designs for that scheme. RSN Trackside, Mission 22, and everything they do for our veterans. Top Notch Trucking with my Gramps. Shaggy TV, Reed's Home Inspections. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Thanks to everyone for the league. It's been a lot of fun so far this year, and can't believe we're already halfway through it. Big shout out to Mom, Dad, Gramps for watching. Miss Kelsey in the other room letting me do this, and yeah, other than that, big shout out to Cody and Cole for the awesome run tonight. So thank you guys.
Absolutely, brother. Enjoy this one, and we'll get back at it after the holidays there. And Isaac Salas, your winner. Great explanation of everything that went down. It'll be very interesting to hear, Joe, what Cole's side of the story is.
Yes, indeed. And I am going to grab second place from the race tonight. Cole Henschel, we got you up in the booth. This is Joe Donahue. You got a copy, brother?
Yeah, yep, I got you.
Loud and clear. Cole Henschel, you had the beginning of this race sort of in control, and over the course of maybe that first third of the race, you definitely saw the conglomeration of a lot of other really good drivers coming together, and at the end of the day, Isaac Salas just had that little edge at the end of the race.
Yeah, it was a good race, seeing a bunch of different guys coming up. That's the fun part with the 75 laps. Like Cody, he was rolling around in the mid-pack, then out of nowhere, I look in the mirror and I see that 97 sliding up behind me. I'm like, oh, no, I got to go.
Well, you definitely had the go at the beginning of this race, and you had the go at the end of it, too. I mean, Talk to me about the racing surface and how all of you, like yourself, Salas, Higby, like you had to search around a little bit to try to stay in contention when everybody started coming together at the end of this race. Like, what were you experiencing with moving so far up the racetrack and then doing that big slider line through 1 and 3?
Yeah, I would never thought of it, but I looked in my mirror and I saw Cody coming, and I switched to it. But yeah, the track had a lot of character to it. In the beginning, I was able to kind of dime in it, and I was able to drive away. Then once Isaac rolled me and we started sliding each other, I stayed out there. It was just fun to run 3 different distinct lines throughout the race. It made it good racing.
Absolutely, it did. And it also makes for a good championship conversation when we exclude, like when we take into account the drop week factor. You coming into tonight were the championship leader, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be the championship leader coming out of it in that same regard. It's definitely got to feel good for you to be able to tick off good performances with laps led like this and getting podiums when we look at the big picture of the championship this season.
Yeah, it's always fun to be able to win something, but I'm just here to have fun with these guys. We don't get to see each other often in the winter, so it's just a good time to be around. And if I win, I win. If I don't, I still had fun.
Well, you absolutely probably had a good time tonight, especially that you got to sport one of your dad's modified schemes in the race tonight. Who do you want to thank, shout out, and give credit to, and say hey to at the end of tonight with these special colors on the 4 car tonight?
Yeah, this is my dad's car. I think he ran this back in '02. It was his second TO. But Ryan Reiser put it together for me, so special thanks to him. Then thank you to you guys and Aunt and Cody and everybody that puts it on. And shout out to my parents, my girlfriend. They were watching. My girlfriend actually let me to play while she's here, so special thanks to her.
Good stuff. We would love to hear it, that everybody's in full support of this, and congratulations on the run, Cole. We'll see after the break next week, when we come back in 2 weeks, what you can put together for us.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too, Cole. Thank you. And that is second place at the end of it tonight, Cole Henschel. And we will move to the third and final podium member with Jonathan. He's got the microphone. He's got Cody Higby.
A driver that we have talked to a whole bunch in the past in our previous broadcast, but good to catch up with him once again. Cody Higby back on the podium here tonight. Cody, how's it going?
Pretty good. That was a blast, I'll tell you. I started 12th there and just kind of too far back and just tried to save my stuff up there and try not to die coming through, and I was able to do so, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, at one point in the race, I was like maybe the halfway point or so. We kind of noticed you were sitting maybe 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere around there. And it was like, oh, Cody really hasn't quite moved up through the field like maybe we expected. You mentioned starting back in 12th. So was it the plan to be more patient, or was it you just taking what was given to you by the drivers in the field and the track itself throughout the race?
I just felt so tight early, and I really couldn't maneuver around other cars, so I really had to just drop in and follow and just ride for 70. Well, 75 laps is a long race. I probably rode 60 of them. I feel like the last 15, I really started to turn it on there. And, I found that slider line, and it's just so hard to run in traffic. But once I got into somewhat clean air, I can run it, and I just feel like that's when I was the best. But I rolled the bottom there a few times, and it wasn't bad. I feel like that's how I made my passes, but I just couldn't do it so consistently as I can run the slider line.
A second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth position finish for you throughout the season so far. What more do you need to be able to break through for that win?
Yeah, not bad. I just got to start up there a little further and just catch that invert right. That seems like it's most important. But, yeah, Knoxville, you can come through the field, and it's really my favorite track on here. When it gets wide like that, it's just so much fun. There's so much room to throw sliders, and you can run the bottom, you can run the top, you can just search around, and that's really my favorite kind of racing.
Well, you're doing pretty good at it, and it's getting close. You're knocking on the door all over the map in terms of great finishes this year. Cody, who do you got to thank for the third place effort tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for putting this on, Anthony for doing all the hard work behind the scenes. He does a lot, and it's just a blast to get on here and race with these guys. Cole and Isaac, they are just awesome racers and a lot of fun to race around. So, yeah, I really enjoy getting on here and race with them guys.
Well, it's a blast watching you run, and congratulations on the great drive up from 12th to 3rd tonight. Cody Higby, your 3rd place finisher from Knoxville tonight, Joe. Gotta say, it's been one of the more fun races I think we've ever had the chance to call. That was a blast. I thoroughly enjoyed that from flag to flag, really.
Yeah, we had a really good grouping of drivers, and especially the way it all kind of like came together at the end, because we had the strong drivers. We had Cole Henschel and Isaac Salas, and then we started seeing Cody Higby get into the picture. We saw that whole thing with Gary Edwards III, where he was involved in he had the dropout. He was a lap down, came all the way back up into the fight, was fighting to potentially get into the lead at one point, and then just the way it all kind of came together with the group of them racing so closely at the end. Definitely one of the better races we've seen in a long time, especially at Knoxville. I think this racetrack works well with these cars, but not to the extent at some of the other places that we run, like Lanier or Port Royal. So I'm very happy that what we got out of it was as great as it really was, and always a blast to be here in the first place. But the Southern Tier Elite Series, they have a really good field of drivers who come together every week, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's been a blast to be a part of this series, and as we start to see the unofficial results on the screen, Isaac Salas, your winner, Cole Henschel, 2nd, Cody Higby, 3rd. We talked to those 3 drivers. Gary Edwards with a valiant effort, finishing 4th. He was up there all night, and except for that kind of blemish he had, fought back up there to be in the top 5. Brendan Finley with a great run. Kenny Coe ends up 6th. Hunter Lapp 7th. Matthew Schultz, another driver who had to battle his way up after some adversity. Dean Reynolds, even another driver who had some adversity. And how about Jeff Sharp, almost out of nowhere with a top 10?
Yeah, I saw that as I looked over the list here. That was awesome to see as well. A lot of drivers moving and shaking. Like, the fast drivers were fast tonight. Brian Lawson ends up 11th place. Good run for him. Jesse Hedges ends up 12th. Kind of, I don't want to say it's a bummer, but Hedges started up front, and it would have been cool to see the 33 car get up into the top 5, but nonetheless, he will go 12th. 13th at the end of it is Mikey Horton. You've got Chad Lackey in 14th, who definitely could have maybe had a better night tonight if all of those hard knocks hadn't have happened to him. Bud Molyneux ends up 15th. Jake Henry will be 16th at the end of it. Then the brothers, Austin and Dylan Smith, make up 17th and 18th. You've got Anthony Vitale in 19th. The first of the 2 Roselli brothers in 20th. 21st for Dominic. Richard Ritchie will end up 22nd. And 23rd on the grid at the end of it is Edward Owens. It was a rough night for the Roselli brothers, Jonathan, and especially considering that they are 2 of the heavy hitters in the championship. I think that thing you talked about earlier, this probably will be their drop week.
Yeah, right. That's the one thing, is that you have the chance to erase a bad night, but you have too many of those bad nights, you can't overcome that. So this is going to be one that both boys are going to want to try to forget it, put it in the rearview mirror, and come back strong at our next event.
Absolutely. So our next event will be at Lernerville in 2 weeks' time. So we will have our winter break coming next week here on BRP TV with the Southern Tier Elite Series. And then we will come back after that with an event at Lernerville. That will be exciting to get back into my home state in the new year. So that is the end of the 2025 portion of the championship for these drivers. And actually, Jonathan, if you want to take a second to say a little bit more words, it'll give me enough time to stall out and give you the results for the mid-season championship winner. So
yeah, you know what? I mean, what a great points battle. Like, really, season long is great, but even to this middle point of the year, it has been so fun, very enjoyable to call. And I can, Joe, I am just so impressed with the racing that we saw. There are maybe on any given week, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys who are all capable of winning. There's drivers that we know can get to victory lane that we haven't seen the best of yet. Maybe a guy like Dirk Hardin has something up his sleeve later in the second half of the year, but in the first half of the year, it really feels like it belonged to maybe not all 3 of the drivers that we saw on the podium. I mean, Cody Higby has been incredibly consistent, but Isaac Salas and Cole Henschel both having 2 victories on the year already. That has been impressive to watch both of those guys.
Absolutely. And thank you also for giving me enough time to confirm the first half of the season mid-season champion is the driver of the number 21, Gary Edwards III, putting up some good numbers in the first half. So we will have to wait and see if he can hold that out through running in the second half of the season, and also considering that drop week when it comes into play. But congratulations to Gary Edwards for being the top dog of the first half of the season. And like I alluded to, that is the end of the 2025 portion of the Southern Tier Elite Series for their first ever season on BRP TV. You're not going to want to disappear for too long because we will be back in the new year to bring you Lernerville, but we want to thank everybody who's continued to support this series and BRP TV through the first 5 races: Cacti Fabrication, BRP TV, Hig Fab Chassis, Precision Engine Service, Savage House Performance, Vertex Graphics, Murder Graphics, MDR Designs, the Inkvine Company, Creative Turnings, 47 Technology, and the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. As that is a wrap from us. Hopefully everybody who celebrates has a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to everyone else. Happy New Year from us here in the booth, as well as Anthony Roselli on behalf of the Southern Tier Elite Series. Matt DeRitter from BRP TV as well. We will be able to enjoy our break and spend time with family and friends, and then come back in 2 weeks' time from tonight for Lernerville. So we will bid you adieu for 2025, and 2026 is looking to start off pretty strong with a tight championship battle and some good races left on the calendar. I'm Joe Donahue, signing off for now. We will see you next time.